Hey everyone, welcome to Thursday Night Live. I'm Pauline Hatch. So super glad you're jumping on because tonight we are going to expand our minds a little bit. So if you do jump on, please feel free to comment, say hi. I'm happy to open this up for discussion. I am a writer and a blogger and a journalist. I've studied health and nutrition and food as medicine and autoimmune diseases and anything health related for over a decade now. And so my purpose here is just to share with you in bite-sized pieces all the things that I have discovered, the things I continue to discover through my own journey, my family, helping other people as a health coach, and also because I genuinely love understanding how incredible our bodies are and what they're capable of. It's mind-blowing stuff. It's like putting together a big puzzle, and I love it. It gets me really, really energized. So tonight's topic, I'm going to get right into it. I've got a lot to share. I'm so passionate about this because the more I learn about everything we're about to go through, the more excited I get, the more I have these aha moments, the more things seem to make sense, things start to click. So if you're on and you stay on, huge fist bump to you because I guarantee you'll learn something that you didn't know, and I really hope you walk away with some inspiration. So yeah, I'm really excited about what we're going to be looking at tonight because we're going to be looking at the different ways we can basically supplement our life to compensate for the ways that our modern lifestyle is not serving us. So I believe that creating a shift in mindset around supplementing our life is key to not just living, but actually thriving in the world that we're in today. So we might have all these cool gadgets and lots of mind-blowing medical innovations and surgeries and medicines, but there is a reason our children's generation is predicted to live a shorter lifespan than ours, and that's because we as a people are getting sicker and sicker. I'll say a few hellos as we go through to the people who are jumping on. Hi, Sam and Philip and Nicole. Lovely to have you on. If our modern world was everything that it should be, we wouldn't have these really high rates of chronic, terrible, preventable diseases. But that's okay because we don't have to freak out. The key is understanding and adapting and supplementing the areas where we need help because we're no longer naturally getting certain things from our environment. So supplementing, that means I'm talking about adding things into your life to fill in the gaps. It's not new age or weird, and it's not a waste of money. It's just smart. It's smart because it means that you've looked at what's going on, recognize that when you take a step back and take a bird's eye view of what's happening, our world and our lifestyle has changed massively, and our bodies and our minds are not being provided what they need to live optimally anymore. So recognizing that we need a little more help in a few areas, basically, to really gain back our health and be like a truly robust and healthy people. Hi, Marga, and hi, Carly. All right, so let's start from the start. Let's rewind back a few thousand years. So people lived in shelters, right? Made from elements of nature. They walked barefoot in really dense, nutrient-rich soil. They hunted wild animals and they ate the whole animal, the organs and the eyes and the fat and the marrow from the bones. And they ate wild berries and roots and greens and mushrooms and things like that that grew naturally in the ground. And they drank unprocessed, pure rainwater. They used herbs and leaves for medicine and healing. And I'm not saying that lifestyle was idyllic because obviously there were a lot of things that weren't great, right? It was a hard life. One scratch from a tree could get infected and its curtains. Lots of women died in childbirth and so did their babies and so on. So what I'm doing though is painting, Marga said, are you pausing the video or is it my internet? It might be you, it might be my internet. There is a storm here at my house. So if it goes fuzzy, it might just be my internet being a bit funny during the storm. Yes, I'm just trying to paint a picture of how people lived back then, how they interacted with their world. And it's interesting to note that cultures that still live that kind of traditional lifestyle don't suffer from our modern diseases. So now if you look around you right now, we're living in these large houses made from all sorts of materials where sometimes for weeks on end, fresh air doesn't even really get in, especially if you live in a colder kind of climate. Our indoor environment is not only really sterile, it's actually full of all different chemical cleaners and sprays and Wi-Fi and toxic carpet and bug sprays. And we get up in the morning and we go from our bed to the coffee machine to the car and straight to the office. And we might not even get one touch of sun or real air on us at all from the moment we get up to the moment we go to bed, especially if you live in a place where the days are really, really short. And our bodies are incredible machines. Your body uses fresh air to clean your lungs. It boosts and strengthens the white blood cells that strengthen your immune system. Fresh air even changes your mood because of the way that your body oxygenates. But we live so much of our lives now indoors and typically really sedentary. So we're sitting on office chairs or couches or in a car or in a truck. I spent most of today sitting at my desk because I had to do work today. And like right now I have about, 12 different Wi-Fi signals in my house, right? Like 12, that's going through me and my kids and everyone right now. I can't get away from it. Okay, so let me tell you a little story. So a few years ago, my husband was getting migraines a lot, like almost one a week. And he always he would wake up with one and he could feel it coming on. But what he found is if he got up really quickly and went to the beach for a surf, it would disappear. And we thought, oh, is it because he's using his muscles or like, what is that? And then I was reading a book about how to get rid of migraines, and it talked about the effect of positive and negative ions on our body. So ions are little molecules that are floating around. Ions that they're floating around you right now. Ions that gain a positive charge are bad news. So too much of those causes a toxic reaction in our body. But guess what creates positive ions? It's electronic devices, your TV, your computer, the phone you're holding right now, fluorescent lights in your office or shopping centres or whatever, chemicals from your carpets and paints and the couch you're sitting on, and just general air pollution from cars and factories. So all the things that our ancestors didn't deal with that are everywhere in our environment today. And the symptoms of positive ion poisoning, there's heaps, but migraines, allergies, changes in our mood, like mood swings, anxiety, chronic inflammation, loads more. But on the flip side of that, we have the negative charge. And guess what carries the negative charge? It's the ocean, right? It's forests and waterfalls and even the air after a storm. Nature, just unpolluted nature, is negatively charged. So even in that, and hello to everyone who's jumped on, I'm just charging on because I've got a lot to share. So we're seeing the imbalance here. Our modern lifestyle is really super comfortable, but it's hurting us. So we need to recognize that and intentionally spend more time outdoors, away from all the stuff that's pouring these positive toxic ions into our body. So instead of heading to the shops on the weekend, you could go for a walk on the beach with the kids, or you could visit a park further away from your city, get away from some of that pollution. You don't have to become an adrenaline junkie going out and doing crazy things every single weekend. Just get out into nature and breathe some fresh air, get those negative ions in so you can rebalance, so you can start to really detox those positive ions and get the negative ions back in so that we can get back to being healthier again. And we have to do this if we want to live well in our modern, positive ion-filled world, right? Have you ever heard of grounding? Has anyone ever heard of grounding? So people laugh a little bit at this, but grounding is the process of standing outside, shoes off, bare feet on the grass or in the dirt, and just standing there for a while and letting your body reconnect. It sounds like silly, right? But people do it because the ground, the earth itself, is a source of negative ions, because it makes us feel peaceful and calm, and because we were designed to walk around barefoot and connect with that dirt and with nature. And the research is actually all there to support grounding as a viable way of getting more of that negative ion back into your body. So get out into your backyard or a park with your shoes off and play some soccer, or just lie on the grass. Can you step out in your lunch break, shoes off, sit in the sun for 10 minutes, read a book? It will do absolute wonders for you. So this is all part of adapting. We're adapting. We need to seek out negative ions because they are not readily available in our day-to-day world, but we are bombarded by the positive. So we take action to rebalance. Helena, hi Helena. Very interesting ions. No wonder the Sunday walks on the beach make me feel good. Yep. The beach and the ocean is one of the things in that book that he said, the migraine specialist said that's such a great way to do it. And also because the ocean itself, if you go out for a swim, one of the best things that you can do is go for a swim in the ocean. We believe that the positive ion issue was a huge contributor to my husband's migraines, which stopped. Well, they reduced, but they would help when it happened. But what made them stop almost entirely was when we started supplementing with magnesium spray and increasing the nutrient-rich foods that were in this book that we had read. So, okay, so let's talk about that. So deficiency of key nutrients. I'm just going to talk about a couple for time's sake. There's so many, but I'll just go through a couple of important ones. So magnesium. We used to get magnesium from our soil, and because we ate lots of fruits and vegetables that came from that soil. But now because of our population explosion, as well as the way that we farm, mass industrialization of agriculture, the changes to our diet, more than half of us are magnesium deficient. We need magnesium because every cell in our body needs magnesium. It regulates our blood sugar levels. It helps our muscles and our nerves to function correctly. Have you ever had a cramp in your calf, especially when you're pregnant? My first 2 pregnancies, oh my gosh, I had cramps all the time. That's magnesium deficiency right there. It helps regulate our blood pressure. It makes bone or a protein in bone. We even need it to have like DNA like strongly bound DNA, healthy DNA. So every cell in our body needs magnesium, and most of us aren't getting enough. If you ever get muscle twitches, cramps, like I said before, fatigue is a huge one. Osteoporosis is linked to magnesium deficiency, asthma, high blood pressure, allergies. All of them are linked to magnesium deficiency. But this is where it gets really, really interesting. So we're all struggling to get enough vitamin D as well. That's because of our diet, but it's also because we're isolating ourselves from the sun in every single way possible. We use chemical sunscreen, we slip, slop, slap, and we wear huge hats. We stop our kids from getting a single ray on their precious skin for fear of skin cancer, and rightly so. Australia has the highest rates of melanoma in the world, so we do have to be careful. But we are taking it to a really extreme point. Our kids can't even go outside to play if they don't have a hat on at school. In childcare centres, they have to put on sunscreen 2 or 3 times every single day. And us adults, we can go entire days without really being in the sun at all, especially if you work an indoor job. The sun, the way that vitamin D works, the sun doesn't send down rays of vitamin D to your body. Your body produces it from cholesterol when your body's exposed to the sun. So the sun is the activator. So now we have a chronic vitamin D deficiency because we're all sun scared and because of our indoor lifestyle. And your body can't even metabolize the vitamin D it creates without magnesium. So we have created, hand in hand, an environment where we aren't producing enough vitamin D because we live indoors and in fear of the sun. And we don't have the magnesium in our diet to absorb the vitamin D that our body is able to produce out of what it's got. So vitamin D deficiency symptoms, I mean, there's so many, but some of the main ones are you get sick a lot. You feel really tired, pain in your bones, especially in your back. Depression is linked with vitamin D deficiency, or poor moods, like, being in a mood rut kind of thing. Skin that doesn't heal quickly or well, low bone, density, mineral density, thin hair or hair that falls out a lot. It's linked to cardiovascular disease, susceptibility to cancers and multiple sclerosis, epilepsy, diabetes. I could keep going. There's a whole slew of things that are part and parcel of this vitamin D deficiency that a lot of us have got. So vitamin D and magnesium are essential to our body's function, and we're not getting them anymore the way that our ancestors did, or the way some other cultures are. So here's what we have to do as people who live in this world now, in today, the way that our lifestyle is. If you can, buy your produce from small local farmers, from farmers markets. You've got more chance of buying food that's been grown in rich soil, that's been grown properly, not mono-farmed, that's picked when it's ripe and picked just before you buy it. Normally those guys are picking them the morning of or the night before they take it to the market, unlike our supermarkets where it can sit somewhere for like either months in storage, or it takes a week or something for it to get shipped from wherever it was grown. So you've got a much better chance of getting magnesium from your food by choosing farmers markets or fresher food if you can. But you can also add magnesium into your world. So you can get magnesium oils or sprays. Sprays is what we use. You can buy capsules and powder. You can buy magnesium salts to add to the kids' bath, and you can have one every now and then. Your skin is like a sponge. It absorbs anything that you put onto it. So having a bath is a really awesome way of putting your whole body into magnesium. It's great. Make sure you get magnesium salts, not Epsom salts. They're different things. And get some morning sun every day. I've got a morning ritual rundown that I can send to you. It kind of covers a lot of this stuff and things that you can do every morning to activate your body and get some of this stuff going. So just let me know if you want that, and I can message it to you. You can comment or send me a PM and I'll send it to you. Yeah, and, get the kids outside in the morning as well. The sun is less intense. Get everyone's shoes off, stand on the grass, breathe in some fresh air. And if you need to, if you find you're actually really deficient or your kids are really deficient in vitamin D, you can get some under the tongue drops that you can give every morning. And I had to do that for a while too. Okay, how are we going? Is this making sense? Are you seeing why I'm saying that supplementing our life in different ways, it's not only something that we need to start seeing as the new normal, it's actually really imperative. We have a bit of an old way of thinking that we can get everything we need from food, and that's just not true anymore. If you really looked into what's going on in our food industry, it would honestly scare your pants off, right? So let's take a minute to look at food. Our food is highly processed, it's modified, it's sprayed. And if you really want to make sure that your pants are scared right out of the room, look up Monsanto and how many hundreds of millions of dollars they're paying out in compensation to people who are sick or have died from their carcinogenic sprays that are going onto your food. Our food isn't farmed correctly. It's not picked when it's ripe. The soil is deficient. It's chemically ripened after storage. Basically, it's nutrient deficient food. And some of it, like refined white sugars and processed dairy, because all dairy is so highly processed now that it kind of goes into that same category, they're actually anti-nutrients because they leach nutrients from our tissues when we eat them. So they're actually the opposite of healthy, And then there's gluten. So gluten from our new variety of dwarf wheat that's all around the world is making millions of people sick, but we still have a bit of a laugh at people who are gluten-free or choose to eat less wheat. But we kind of just need to put our smart hats on again. Our food has changed. It's no longer serving us as well as it did in the days when we worked with the land. So not everyone has to go gluten-free. That's definitely not what I'm saying. And that whole discussion is way too big for right now. But if you want more info on the effects of new wheat and the gluten that's in it, I can send you a really great article. I wish I could remember the name of the lady who wrote it. It's so good. She summarizes the gluten problem and what's gone on there really beautifully. So just pop in a comment or message me if you want me to send you that. It's a really great short way of seeing what's going on there. All right, so what do we need to do with our food? Okay, so since our body relies on nutrient-dense food, and fruits and vegetables, proteins, good fats, good carbs, and water to function, as brilliantly as it's able, then we need to make sure that we're getting that every day. I don't know a single person who gets enough of these in a day. And if you do, then you must know one of the 2% of Australians who are getting the minimum recommended 2 and 5 a day. I know I definitely don't. There's a saying actually about modern produce that I heard a little while ago that I've never forgotten: 2 bites of a vegetable for 1 bite of nutrition. So if you really want to restore your body to full health, given how deficient our food is today, you need to double or triple the volume of produce that you're currently eating. Could anyone do that without help? I couldn't. We've strayed a long way from those nutrient-rich whole foods and clean, healthy animal meats, including the organs, as our staple diet. We just don't eat the way that our ancestors used to. So supplementing your diet to make sure you're getting the right balance of food you need for your body to function, defend against disease, it's not a fad, and it's definitely not a waste of money. It's just smart. It's smart living in a world where our food is deficient, our stress is chronic like never before. Like our ancestors didn't stay up till 11 o'clock answering emails and messages, you know. Our lifestyle is really sterile, and our gut bacteria is cactus. And you know, our kids, like, it's hard for us, but it's even harder to make sure that our kids are getting enough of that. Remember that they're still forming, like their bodies are still forming and growing, and it's hard for them to get enough high quality food fuel for their brains and their little bodies to function and protect itself correctly. But it's so critically important because our kids are the guinea pig generation. They're born into this new technologically charged world where our food is radically underwhelming and underperforming. It's modified and it's fake. They're not playing or living the way that even we did as kids in our generation. So it's our job as the adults to help them fill those gaps. I already mentioned earlier about getting out more. Oh, hi, everybody. I'm so sorry. Lots of people have jumped on and I haven't been saying hello. I've just been going off on my little rant. Hi, Liz and Emily and Vicky and Michelle and Luana, and hi, Nathan and Nairi. Hi, Luana. Okay, so yeah, I already mentioned earlier about getting out more. So we need to make it a priority to take our kids outside and play. It benefits everyone for all the reasons we've just gone through. If you jumped on and you missed what I was saying at the start, you can go back and have a look. It's all about vitamin D and magnesium and grounding yourself and getting those negative ions. So getting sunshine, the negative ions to combat the positive ions from all of our electronic equipment that's around us. To improve your mood, honestly, it is such a huge mood booster to get outside. Get that vitamin D, get the fresh air and clean out those lungs and oxygenate your body properly, get out of the air conditioning, get some activity, be less sedentary, you know, and reduce screen time as well for our kids. But, well, I mean, I've got 3 kids, so I know this. It's harder to get the right, or even not even the right, an adequate amount of fruit and veg into our kids on a consistent daily basis than it is for us. And I try really hard. Like, I'm one of those mums who tries really, really hard, and it's not always possible. So it's not crazy. And especially when I'm saying that our food is already so deficient that, you know, we'd have to get in twice as much to be able to give our kids close to the minimum recommended. So to me, it's not crazy or strange to supplement your kids' diet as well as your own. There's a really, just like a mass emphasis on terrible processed food for kids. There are massive amounts of hidden sugars and chemical additives and on and on and on. So we really need to double down on what our kids are eating to protect them from what the world is throwing at them. So we can combat that by making it part of our routine to educate them around nutrition and what foods are acceptable and why, because they've got to make these decisions for themselves someday. Our kids are eating more sugar in 1 month than they would have eaten in a whole year before refined sugar was created. We're already seeing the impact of this new diet that we have with the modern food and the inflammation, the oxidative stress, the free radicals, leaky gut. We're seeing the impact of that on our kids. We've got huge amounts of food allergies, childhood conditions, and they're just growing in number every single year. And that's not coincidence. You know, we're the most medically advanced we've ever been, and yet we're getting sicker. That's not coincidence. So this is something that we have to tackle head on when it comes to nutrition. And really understand the gravity of why this is so important. It's important because these are our kids and we want the best for them. And that means taking charge. It means reducing the garbage. It means focusing back on whole foods and good fats. It means adding in good quality supplements to give them as much support as they can get, including all the ones I've already mentioned. Our kids are just as susceptible to magnesium and vitamin D deficiencies as we are. So sugar-filled multivitamin lollies are not going to cut it. I can't give a one-size-fits-all answer because there are a lot of different supplements for different people and kids and their preferences. And if you or they have got different, issues or conditions, then that might require something different. I'm happy to help one-on-one if you need some ideas, or even just who maybe you should go and see. But I can't really give a one-size-fits-all answer to that, except to say that we need to change our thinking around supplements and go, okay, we actually do need to add different things into our diet to fill that gap, because our food is so deficient and because we're so bombarded by the stuff that's making us so sick on the inside as well. And remember, we have to look at our food intake holistically. So that includes proteins and good fats as well, not just fruits and veg. So all of this is a huge topic. what I really want to get across is that it's okay to look at supplementing your life and your families. It might be a little bit counterculture to go out and do grounding. It might be a little bit counterculture to give your kids, different nutritional supplements and things like that. It might be a little counterculture to decide, I don't know, to give your kids a magnesium bath once a week, and people might go, wow, you're crazy. But really, it's the way that we have to start thinking in order to be able to function really well in this new world. It's our best defense. We're living in a world that doesn't provide us naturally with the things that protect us from disease and keep us healthy and happy, the way that it would have for our ancestors. We have to create that for ourselves, and it's okay. We're great at adapting. We adapt, we survive, we thrive. And the journey can be really fun and really adventurous. And at the other end is a future where, we and our kids get to enjoy all the good things about this super awesome modern life, but not at the expense of our health and our happiness. And, we get to be super educated and aware and vibrant and live till we're 110. And that's what we want, right? We want health. Health is wealth. So, unless you're going to, sell your house and move into a mud hut out in the forest, then just have a think about some of this stuff. I know I threw a lot of info at you over the last 20 minutes. So if you need help dissecting any of it, or you've got questions, or you want to throw some ideas around, send me a message or pop a comment here and we'll have a conversation. This is really only the tip of the iceberg, but it's food for thought, pardon the pun. Just looking at our environment, our lifestyle, our food, finding other ways to fill our modern deficiencies, basically. So if you've watched this, then I can definitely say you're one of the amazing people who is, one of the smart ones who's willing to have a little bit of a think outside the box and look at different ways that we can really radically up the quality of our life by doing things that are a little different and being educated and being aware. So well done to you. That's it from me. Always welcome to just send me a message or comment if you want any of the resources that I mentioned during this. The morning rituals, or the info on what was the other one? Gluten. It might have been something else in there I've forgotten, but yeah, just send me a message or comment and I'm happy to share that info with you. So, all right. Thanks guys. I'm off. Bye-bye.